My dad disfigured my face when I was 6. Now his fiancée left him after I finally told the truth, and he is calling me a vindictive liar who ruined his life. I, 17F, was recently staying at my dad's after school breakup. He lives in the countryside and has a farm which I grew up on. My parents divorced when I was 10 and we moved away. As a child, 6 years old-ish, I was out with my dad as he worked. I was running around and I tripped on something, causing me to fall down and land chin first against a jagged concrete wall. Immediately, blood poured from my mouth and I lost 3 baby teeth. The pain was immense. I can still picture it clearly to this day. Although somehow, my chin was not split open. I remember feeling like my chin bones were pulled apart and misaligned, around my jaw as well. I was obviously screaming and crying, and my dad hears me and comes towards me, tells me to shut up, and he stands behind me. He takes each hand on either side of my jaw, yanking my jawbones, causing more and more pain, until he looked and thought my face looked normal again. He told me not to tell my mom, who was abroad with an ill family member for around a month at this time. It is a miracle to me that my adult teeth grew in straight, and I don't have an underbite or an overbite, but cosmetically the lack of medical attention had dire consequences. My chin is disfigured. If I had been to hospital then maybe they would have x-rayed me and made sure I wouldn't grow up to be unsatisfied with my appearance. Half of my chin is loop-sided and jagged and half is round, and I get constant jaw pain. My jaw has bruxism and I am considering masseter Botox and even cosmetic surgery to correct it, as it has become such a problem for me as I grew older, causing teasing, insecurity, and low confidence. I more recently told my mom of my concerns and she was horrified to learn of what really happened, as she never knew the story, and yet more angry with my dad. She called him and I had to de-escalate the situation. She was yelling all the same old about how he is a bad father and even threw in words like toxic and neglect. She demanded to him to pay for plastic surgery for me, something I'm not even sure of yet, and a whole load more of angry words. I was angry at her reaction, as him and her have been divorced for many years, and I feel like this is something between me and my dad since I'm older now and would rather not have them fight like they used to. Life has moved on. Anyways, when I stayed down at his lately he brought it up and was under the impression I wanted to get plastic surgery ASAP. He told me I was being vain, only bimbos get plastic surgery, and especially that he would not pay for it since it was in the past and he never did anything to me. I protested and said I never wanted him to pay for anything. I have a job and have savings which if I decided to, I could afford something to be done in the future. He asked me if I was angry at him. I said no, as I have grown up I have learned to let sleeping dogs lie and to move on with my life. He made many a mistake through my childhood, but he is still my dad and does his best at the end of the day. But secretly, I do have some sort of resentment underneath. On the last weekend of my week at my dad's, around a month ago, my dad's fiancée, who is a wonderful and caring woman by all regards, pulled me aside and was asking me things about my childhood. She knows that things were a little rough sometimes, and that my dad was not an attentive father, but probably nothing in depth. She told me that after my mom called my dad and the yelling argument happened, my dad told her what happened when I was a child and she was astounded. Her words, she told me that was disgusting and neglectful of him, and since then she hasn't been able to look at him the same since, and she had been thinking of how he is as a person more deeply and wanted to know more information about him before he met her. I was taken aback, but since she is lovely, warm, and friendly, I sort of vented lots of things and told her things that I even struggle talking about. She was really kind and told me the whole usual "you didn't deserve that," which I know, and I don't actively get bothered by my childhood experiences anymore as I have grown up and moved on and like to focus on the right now. The next morning I take the train back upcountry to my mum's house. Anyway, last night, I was completing coursework for my A-levels, as I'm going into year 13 in September and am aiming for a top university. I get a call from my dad, and he is livid. I have never heard such a combination of anger and absolute despondence. He yelled at me that I had ruined his life and me and my mum were scheming biatches who ruined his life year after years, that I couldn't be happy for him and his life was ruined now. I asked him what on earth was he talking about, and he told me his fiancée had changed her mind and she wasn't going to marry him anymore, and she cancelled the wedding scheduled for next year. I started crying, genuinely, because she is a lovely woman and I was happy that he was with someone who fit him perfectly and she was seemingly happy with him too. They even talked of having another child, which I was also very happy for them for. As an only child, a baby sibling would be amazing. He yelled at me and argued at me, calling things like attention-seeking, vengeful, biatch. He also told me he was glad my face was messed up and I should have just stopped crying over it, and looking this way as my punishment for being self-absorbed. All I could do was cry. I'm honestly in such a terrible state right now. The relationship with my dad has been rocky, but for the past 5 or so years it had been getting much better, I feel, and now I feel like everything has gone down the drain. Wasted. This year will be tough on me, A-levels, university applications, my work, and regardless, I just want a good relationship with him. I never meant to make his fiancée leave him, I honestly didn't. But I put my foot in it, clearly. I haven't got out of bed all day, I can't stop crying over how badly I messed up, and I don't even want to tell my mom about it, she would make it worse by calling him and yelling at him more. But yeah, that's my story I guess. I'm unsure if I'm the a-hole for bringing up old skeletons from the closet, even unintentionally, or how I solve this situation. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I've been in therapy from ages 13 to 15, for sort of related, sort of unrelated issues that stemmed from just life I guess. I was in a hospital for severe eating disorder but have since got better and I am healthy now. Therapy helped as I unpacked a lot and helped me see the truth about my dad, but still I feel conflicted and terrible as I know he put in effort more recently to be a better father and person in general I suppose. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. I find it very hard to believe this occurred. If you had regular dental care that would include x-rays and those would show if your jaw was growing abnormally from a prior break. It would not be a surprise to your mother that there was a prior trauma at this point. A doctor likely also would behave order x-rays or other imaging when your jaw became asymmetric and you reported pain. OP. As I said, my childhood was rough, and my adult teeth grew in fine. In the UK, children's dental checkups are only looked at and you don't usually get x-rays unless there is a serious concern, and my chin didn't start to grow badly until around puberty. It's not the worst, but my chin is crooked. Commenter 2. Go to the GP and say you have pain in your jaw and explain why. They will arrange an x-ray really easily, it's the first thing they will do and then they can arrange from there. If you don't indicate you have got an issue, they are never going to do anything. At worst they will ask you why you have decided to leave it this long. OP. Thank you, I definitely do want to. Although I will probably go private since wait times. Probably also once I have finished 6th form as I can't afford to take time off for surgeries or whatever needs to be done. Commenter 3. You didn't mess up. You were 6 years old. How did your mother not know something was wrong when she got back in country? Your face had to have been screwed up and you would have still been in pain. What did he tell your mom? No one took you to the hospital or doctor? You did both those women a favor. They got the real picture. No young adult wants a stepmother or father the exact same age as them. The second woman saw what his real character is and that's why she bowed out. Your dad to say you as a 6-year-old deserved it. If he would have taken you to the hospital it would have been fixed. Your dad is a lying poss and hopefully he never finds a decent woman. Stay away from him and do not defend him to your mom. Your mom is right. OP. I think regarding my mom, I think it could have been a little longer than a month away after, not exactly sure. Surprisingly my face wasn't super puffy by the time she got back, and it barely cut my face either. I was very much in pain for maybe a month after, but how my childhood was I was raised on the phrase pain is just weakness leaving the body kind of sentiment I guess. And since lots of incidents used to happen I kind of always had some kind of injury but I think my mom thought or at least told herself I was just a rough and tumble farm child, as I genuinely was tbh. It wasn't until a breaking point in their relationship that we finally ended up leaving, and they divorced. The way things were I learnt to take things on the chin no pun intended and I guess never really understood the reality of how it was until I got older.